love, pain, truth.
Marcus wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stepped off the bus. The summer heat was unbearable, and his old work boots felt heavy on his feet. He had just finished his morning shift at the warehouse, but his day was far from over. In 2 hours, he needed to be at his second job cleaning offices downtown. Between those jobs, he had exactly 45 minutes to check on his daughter. Sarah was only 7 years old, and she meant everything to Marcus. Her mother had left them 3 years ago, disappearing one night without explanation. Since then, Marcus had become both father and mother to the little girl with bright eyes and an infectious laugh. He worked 2 jobs to keep a roof over their heads and food on the table. It was never enough, but he never stopped trying. The apartment building where they lived was old and run down. Paint peeled from the walls, and the elevator had been broken for months. Marcus climbed the 4 flights of stairs, his legs aching from standing all morning. When he opened the door to their tiny apartment, Sarah ran to him with open arms. "Daddy," she shouted, hugging him tight. Marcus smiled, lifting her up despite his exhaustion. "Hey, princess. How was school?" Sarah's face lit up. "We learned about butterflies. And Miss Johnson said my drawing was the best in class." "That's my girl," Marcus said, setting her down gently. He walked to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. It was nearly empty. A half-gallon of milk, some bread, and a few eggs. He would need to make it stretch until Friday when he got paid. Mrs. Chun, their elderly neighbor, appeared at the door. She watched Sarah every day after school until Marcus could come home. "She ate the sandwich I made her," Mrs. Chun said kindly. "And she did her homework." "Thank you so much," Marcus said, reaching into his pocket. He pulled out a few crumpled bills. "This is all I have right now, but I'll bring you more on Friday." Mrs. Chun waved her hand. "You keep it. Buy something for Sarah. That child needs new shoes. I can see her toes through the ones she has." Marcus looked down, ashamed. He knew Sarah's shoes were falling apart, but new ones would have to wait. Everything had to wait. He thanked Mrs. Chun again and closed the door. After playing with Sarah for 30 minutes, reading her a story, and making sure she had a snack, Marcus had to leave again. Sarah tried to be brave, but he could see the sadness in her eyes. "I'll be home tonight," he promised. "We'll have dinner together, okay?" "Okay, Daddy," Sarah said quietly. Marcus kissed her forehead and headed back out into the heat. The bus ride downtown took 40 minutes, and he spent the time thinking about his life. How had it come to this? He had once dreamed of going to college, of having a career, of giving his daughter a better life. But dreams did not pay the bills. The office building was one of the tallest in the city. Marcus arrived at the service entrance and changed into his cleaning uniform. His job was to clean the executive floors, the fancy offices where important people made important decisions. He often wondered what their lives were like, those people who worked in air-conditioned comfort and went home to nice houses. As he pushed his cleaning cart down the hallway, he noticed something unusual. One of the office doors was open, and inside, a woman sat at a large desk, working on her computer. It was well past regular business hours, and most of the executives had gone home. The woman looked up as Marcus entered. She was probably in her early 40s, dressed in an expensive suit, with sharp eyes that seemed to notice everything. "Good evening," she said. "Good evening, ma'am," Marcus replied politely. "I can come back if you're busy." "No, please, go ahead," she said, gesturing around the office. "I'll be here for a while." As Marcus cleaned, he could feel her watching him. It made him nervous, but he focused on his work. He was careful and thorough, making sure every surface was spotless. His mother had taught him that any job worth doing was worth doing well. "What's your name?" the woman asked suddenly. "Marcus, ma'am." "How long have you worked here, Marcus?" "About 6 months, ma'am." She nodded, studying him. "Do you have family?" Marcus hesitated. People in her position did not usually ask cleaners personal questions. "Yes, ma'am. A daughter. She's 7. Just the 2 of you?" "Yes, ma'am." The woman seemed to consider this information. "That must be difficult." "We manage," Marcus said simply. He did not like to complain or ask for pity. The woman watched him work for a few more minutes in silence. Then she said something that confused him. "Marcus, I have a proposition for you. How would you like to earn some extra money?" Marcus stopped cleaning and looked at her. "What kind of work, ma'am?" "I own a property outside the city. It's been empty for a while, and I need someone to check on it. Make sure everything is in order." It would take a few hours on Saturday. I'll pay you $200. $200. That was more than Marcus made in 3 days of cleaning. He could buy Sarah new shoes, stock the refrigerator, maybe even take her somewhere fun. But something felt strange about the offer. Why would this wealthy woman ask him? Why me? He asked carefully. The woman smiled slightly. You seem honest and hardworking. I trust you. Marcus thought about it. $200 would change everything for the next few weeks. What would I need to do exactly? Just go to the house, walk through it, check that nothing is broken or damaged. Take some photos with your phone. Simple work. I'll give you the address and the key. It seemed too good to be true, but Marcus needed the money desperately. Okay, he said. I'll do it. The woman reached into her desk and pulled out a piece of paper with an address written on it, along with a single key. Be there at 10 in the morning on Saturday. The house is about an hour outside the city. You'll need to take a bus and walk a bit, but the directions are clear. Marcus took the paper and the key. Thank you, ma'am. I won't let you down. I'm sure you won't, she said, her expression unreadable. That night, Marcus went home to Sarah with a little hope in his heart. $200 would not solve all their problems, but it would help. As he tucked Sarah into bed, she asked him, Daddy, are you happy? The question caught him off guard. Why do you ask, princess? You always look tired. I want you to be happy. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes, but he held them back. I'm happy when I'm with you, he said truthfully. You're my everything. Sarah hugged him tight. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, princess. More than anything in the world. On Saturday morning, Marcus woke up early. He made breakfast for Sarah and explained that he had to go do a job, but he would be back in the afternoon. Mrs. Chen agreed to watch her, and Marcus set off on his journey. The bus ride took him far from the city, into areas he had never seen before. The buildings grew smaller and farther apart. Eventually, he got off at a stop in the middle of nowhere and began walking, following the directions the woman had given him. After 20 minutes of walking down a dusty road, Marcus saw the house. His heart sank. The woman had called it a property, but this was barely standing. It was old, abandoned, with broken windows and a sagging roof. The yard was overgrown with weeds, and the front porch looked ready to collapse. Marcus stood there, staring at the house. Something felt very wrong. Why would anyone pay $200 to check on a place like this? Was this some kind of test? Or worse, some kind of trap? He looked at the key in his hand, then back at the house. Every instinct told him to turn around and leave. But he thought of Sarah, of her worn-out shoes, of the empty refrigerator at home. He took a deep breath and walked toward the house. The front door creaked as he pushed it open. The inside of the house was worse than the outside. Dust covered everything, and cobwebs hung from the corners of every room. The floorboards creaked under Marcus's weight, and he worried they might give way beneath him. Sunlight streamed through the broken windows, creating strange patterns on the dirty floor. Marcus pulled out his phone to take photos, as the woman had instructed. He walked slowly through the first floor, documenting the peeling wallpaper, the cracked walls, and the old furniture covered in sheets. The house smelled of mold and abandonment, a place that had been forgotten by time. In the kitchen, Marcus found an old sink with rust stains and cabinets hanging off their hinges. The countertops were covered in years of grime. He took more photos, wondering what purpose they could possibly serve. This house was beyond repair, or so it seemed. As he moved toward the back of the house, Marcus heard a sound that made him freeze. It was soft at first, like a whimper or a cry. He stood perfectly still, listening. There it was again, coming from somewhere deeper in the house. Every sensible part of Marcus told him to leave immediately. This could be dangerous, but he could not shake the feeling that someone or something needed help. He thought of Sarah and how he would want someone to help her if she were in trouble. Hello, Marcus called out. Is someone there? The whimpering grew louder, and Marcus followed the sound down a hallway. At the end was a door, slightly open. He pushed it carefully, and his heart nearly stopped at what he saw. An elderly man sat in the corner of the room, looking confused and scared. He was thin, with white hair and clothes that were dirty and torn. The room itself was in better condition than the rest of the house, with a bed, a small table, and some supplies, but it was still neglected and sad. Sir, Marcus said gently, approaching slowly. Are you okay? Do you need help? The old man looked up at him with cloudy eyes. Water, he whispered. Please, water. Marcus quickly looked around and found an empty cup on the table. He He rushed to the kitchen, tested the faucet, and miraculously, water came out. It ran brown at first, then cleared. He filled the cup and brought it back to the old man, who drank it desperately. "Thank you," the man said weakly. "Thank you." Marcus knelt beside him. "What's your name? How did you get here?" "Thomas," the old man said. I don't remember. I've been here. I don't know how long." Marcus felt panic rising in his chest. This was not what he had expected. The woman had sent him to check on a house, but she had not mentioned anything about a person being here. Was this part of the test? Or had she not known? "Do you have family?" Marcus asked. "Someone I can call?" Thomas shook his head slowly. "No family. They're all gone." Marcus looked at the supplies in the room. There was some canned food, a few bottles of water, and a blanket. Someone had been taking care of Thomas, but barely. It was not enough. The old man needed real help, medical attention, a proper place to stay. Marcus pulled out his phone. He had two choices. He could call the police and an ambulance, get Thomas the help he needed. Or he could take the photos, leave, collect his $200, and pretend he had never seen anything. $200. New shoes for Sarah. Food in the refrigerator. Maybe even a little saved for emergencies. All he had to do was walk away. But as Marcus looked at Thomas, he saw his own future. He saw what could happen to anyone who ended up alone, forgotten, with no one to care whether they lived or died. He saw the humanity that connected all people, regardless of their circumstances. "I'm going to help you," Marcus said firmly. "I'm going to get you out of here." Thomas's eyes filled with tears. "Why? You don't know me." "Because it's the right thing to do," Marcus said simply. He called emergency services first, explaining the situation. They said an ambulance would come, but it would take time since the house was so far from the city. Then Marcus did something he knew might cost him everything. He called the woman who had hired him. She answered on the second ring. "Marcus, did you complete the job?" "Ma'am, there's a man here. An elderly man named Thomas. He's been living in this house, and he needs help. I've called an ambulance, but I thought you should know." There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Marcus could hear his heart beating in his ears. Finally, the woman spoke. "Describe exactly what you found." Marcus told her everything, from the condition of the house to Thomas's situation. He held nothing back, even though he knew it might mean losing the money he desperately needed. "I see," the woman said. "Stay with him until the ambulance arrives. I'll be there as soon as I can." The call ended, and Marcus sat down on the floor next to Thomas. The old man had fallen into a light sleep, exhausted from the brief conversation. Marcus looked around the room, trying to piece together the story. How had Thomas ended up here? Who had been bringing him supplies? And why? While he waited, Marcus did what he could to make Thomas more comfortable. He found a cleaner blanket in a closet and covered the old man with it. He searched the kitchen for any decent food and found a can of soup that was still good. Using an old pot and the stove, which surprisingly still worked, he heated the soup and woke Thomas gently to feed him. "You're a good person," Thomas said between sips. "Not many people would do this." "My daughter taught me," Marcus said with a small smile. "She has the kindest heart I've ever seen. She reminds me every day to be better." "You have a daughter?" Thomas's face brightened slightly. "Yes, Sarah. She's 7. Hold on to her," Thomas said seriously. "Family is everything. I lost mine, and I've regretted it every day since." Marcus wanted to ask what happened, but Thomas seemed too tired and fragile. Instead, they sat in comfortable silence until they heard the sound of an ambulance siren in the distance. The paramedics arrived and quickly began checking Thomas's vital signs. They asked Marcus questions about how he found the old man and what condition he was in. Marcus explained everything honestly. As they were preparing to take Thomas to the hospital, a car pulled up outside. The woman from the office stepped out, and Marcus's stomach tightened with worry. She walked into the house with purpose, her heels clicking on the old floorboards. She looked at Thomas being loaded onto the stretcher, then at Marcus, then at the room. Her expression was impossible to read. "Ma'am," Marcus started to say, but she held up her hand. "Not now," she said. "We'll talk after they take him." The ambulance left with Thomas, and Marcus stood alone with the woman in the abandoned house. He prepared himself for her anger, for accusations, for the loss of the money he had been counting on. But what she said next shocked him completely. "My name is Catherine Wells," she said, "and Thomas is my father." Marcus stared at her, unable to speak. Catherine continued, her voice tight with emotion. "He's been missing for 3 weeks. He has dementia and wandered away from his care facility. We've been searching everywhere. I had no idea he was here." "But you sent me here," Marcus said, confused. "You gave me the key." "This is my grandmother's old house," Catherine explained. "I've been meaning to check on it for months, but never had time. I sent you here to see what you would do." "What I would do?" Marcus repeated. Catherine nodded. "I've been watching you for weeks, Marcus. The way you work, the way you treat people, the values you show even when no one is looking. I needed to know what kind of person you really are." Marcus felt his face grow hot. "This was a test." "Yes," Catherine said simply. "But not the kind you think. I wasn't testing whether you would steal or damage anything. I was testing your character. And you passed in ways I never imagined." Marcus did not know what to say. His mind raced with questions, anger, and confusion. "You tested me by putting your own father in danger? That doesn't make sense." Catherine's face paled. "No, you misunderstand. I didn't put him here. Like I said, he wandered away from his facility 3 weeks ago. I had search teams, police, everyone looking for him. I had no idea he had come to this house. It's been in our family for generations, but we haven't used it in years. He must have remembered it from his childhood." She walked to the window, looking out at the overgrown yard. "The test was supposed to be simple. I wanted to see if you would do the job properly, if you would be honest in your report, if you would respect the property even though no one was watching. I've seen too many people who only do the right thing when someone is looking." "But why me?" Marcus asked. "Why did you choose me for this test?" Catherine turned to face him. "Because I'm looking for someone special, someone with integrity, someone who can be trusted with responsibility. You see, Marcus, I run a very successful company. We have over 500 employees and offices in 3 cities. But I have a problem." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "I've been searching for a new operations manager for 6 months. I've interviewed dozens of people with impressive resumes, fancy degrees, and years of experience. But none of them had what I was looking for. They all knew how to talk about integrity, but I needed someone who lived it." Marcus shook his head. "I don't understand what this has to do with me. I'm a cleaner. I didn't even finish college." "Exactly," Catherine said. "You're a cleaner who works 2 jobs to support his daughter. You're exhausted, you're struggling, you're barely making ends meet. And yet, when offered $200 to do a simple job, you found someone in need and chose to help him instead of walking away. Do you know how rare that is?" Marcus felt uncomfortable with her praise. Anyone would have done the same thing. "No, Marcus, they wouldn't have," Catherine said firmly. "I've watched people step over homeless individuals on the street. I've seen employees steal from the company, lie on their reports, and cheat the system for far less than $200. What you did today was extraordinary. But your father," Marcus protested. "You found him because I called you. That's lucky, not extraordinary." Catherine smiled for the first time. "That's exactly my point. You didn't have to call me. You could have called the ambulance and left it at that. You could have taken your photos, sent them to me, and collected your money without ever mentioning Thomas. But you called me immediately and told me the truth. You put someone else's well-being above your own needs." Marcus thought about Sarah waiting at home. He thought about the $200 he might not get now. "So there's no job? No extra money?" "I didn't say that," Catherine replied. "The $200 is yours, regardless. You did the job I asked you to do. But I want to offer you something more. I want to offer you the position of operations manager at my company." Marcus laughed, thinking she was joking. But Catherine's expression remained serious. "You can't be serious," Marcus said. "I have no experience in management. I don't have a degree. I don't know anything about running a company." "You know the most important things," Catherine countered. "You know how to work hard. You know how to be honest. You know how to put people first. Everything else can be taught. I can teach you about business operations, about management strategies, about financial planning. But I can't teach someone to have your character. That's something you either have or you don't." Marcus sat down on an old chair, his legs suddenly weak. "How much does a job like that pay?" $70,000 a year to start, Catherine said, "with health insurance, retirement benefits, and 2 weeks of paid vacation. After 6 months, if you're performing well, we'll discuss a raise." $70,000. Marcus could barely comprehend that number. It was more than he made in both his jobs combined. It would mean Sarah could have new clothes, good food, maybe even music lessons or sports teams. It would mean he could be home for dinner every night. It would mean a real life, not just survival. Why? Marcus asked, his voice breaking. Why would you do this for me? Catherine walked over and sat down across from him. Because 15 years ago, I was young and arrogant and thought success meant money and power. I built my company, made millions, and lost sight of what really mattered. My father tried to tell me, but I wouldn't listen. I worked all the time, missed family dinners, skipped holidays. I told myself I was building a legacy. She paused, her eyes glistening. Then my father got sick. Dementia started slowly, and I was too busy to notice. By the time I realized how bad it was, he barely recognized me. I put him in the best facility money could buy, but I couldn't buy back the time I lost with him. I couldn't buy back the relationship we could have had. I'm sorry, Marcus said quietly. Today, you saved my father's life, Catherine continued. But more than that, you reminded me what real success looks like. It's not about money or power. It's about being there for the people who matter. It's about doing the right thing even when it's hard. It's about being someone your child can be proud of. Marcus thought about Sarah, about the kind of father he wanted to be. I do want my daughter to be proud of me, he admitted. She already is, Catherine said. I can tell by the way you talk about her. But imagine what you could teach her if you accepted this position. Not just that hard work pays off, but that integrity and character matter. That treating people with respect and compassion leads to real success. Marcus looked at his hands, rough and calloused from years of manual labor. Could he really do this job? Could he transform from a cleaner into a manager? The doubt was overwhelming, but so was the hope. I'll need to learn everything, Marcus said slowly. I'll probably make mistakes. We all make mistakes, Catherine said. What matters is that we learn from them and keep trying. I'll mentor you personally. You'll have support and training. And Marcus, I believe in you. After what I saw today, I have no doubt you can do this. Marcus made his decision. Okay, I'll do it. I'll try my best. Catherine stood up and extended her hand. Marcus stood and shook it, sealing the agreement that would change his life. Over the next few weeks, everything transformed. Marcus gave notice at both his old jobs. Catherine arranged for him to start his new position with a week of training. She also helped him find a better apartment in a safe neighborhood with good schools for Sarah. On his first day as operations manager, Marcus wore a suit Catherine had helped him pick out. He felt awkward and out of place, but Catherine introduced him to the team with genuine enthusiasm. This is Marcus, she told everyone. He's going to bring a new perspective to our operations, and I expect everyone to welcome him and help him succeed. The other employees were curious but friendly. They didn't know about the test or how Marcus had been hired. All they knew was that their CEO believed in him, and that was enough. Marcus worked harder than he ever had before. He arrived early and stayed late, learning everything he could about the business. Some things came naturally, like understanding the workers and their needs. Other things were challenging, like financial reports and strategic planning. But Catherine was patient, and Marcus was determined. Every night, he went home to Sarah, who was thrilled with their new life. She had new shoes that fit, a bedroom of her own, and her father home for dinner every single evening. She joined the school choir and made new friends in their neighborhood. Daddy, are you happy now? Sarah asked one night, remembering her question from months ago. Marcus hugged her tight. Yes, princess. I'm very happy, and I want you to remember something important. What's that? Always do the right thing, even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, even when it costs you something. Because character matters more than anything else. Sarah nodded seriously. Like you did, Daddy. Like we both will, Marcus corrected her. Months later, Marcus visited Thomas in his new care facility, one of the best in the city. Catherine had moved him there after he recovered from his ordeal. Thomas was doing better with proper medication and care, though his memory still faded in and out. You're the man who saved me, Thomas said, recognizing Marcus during a clear moment. I just did what anyone should do, Marcus replied. No, Thomas said firmly. You did what good people do, and that's rare. Thank you. Marcus left the facility feeling grateful. He thought about how one choice, one moment of integrity, had transformed everything. He had gone to that abandoned house expecting to earn $200. Instead, he had found his future. Catherine had tested him, yes, but in doing so, she had given him the chance to prove who he really was. And in proving himself, he had opened the door to a life he never imagined possible. The story of Marcus and Catherine became something of a legend in the company. When people asked how he had gotten his job, Marcus always told the truth. He talked about the abandoned house, about finding Thomas, about choosing to help instead of walking away. And he always ended the same way. It wasn't about passing a test, he would say. It was about being true to who I am, even when it was hard. That's the only test that really matters.